Hello, friends. I hope you all are safe at your home. Myself, Chirag Vakila, I welcomes you all in my video lecture. In previous lecture, we have learned about the chapter number 2, that is of the correspondence with the government department, public services, and local organization. And we have learned about the so many letters which are very important for the aspect of the government department, public services, as well as the local organization. From today, we are going to start our CC chapter number 3, that is of the interdepartmental and employee related correspondence. So, first of all, you have to understand the meaning of interdepartmental and employee related correspondence, that is of the chapter's name. So, first of all, you have to understand the meaning of this type of words. Interdepartmental means internally one department communicate with another department. That is of, for example, sales department communicate with the purchase department or production department. And production department are, or you can say production department have to communicate with different departments. That is of the vice versa. That is of interdepartmental. And next one is the employee related correspondence. Employee related correspondence means whenever if company provide promotion, transfer, demotion, notice, memo, whatever letter written to the employees of the company, that is known as the employee related correspondence. Say for example, if any employee works very hard and due to that company gets name in the market, so company gives a promotion to that particular person in the honor of their or his or her services, and they write a letter for the same, that is known as the employee related correspondence. So we are going to start first concept, interdepartmental correspondence. Introduction. In the competitive and continuously changing business world, business firm or organization have to remain in constant contact with its various departments or for the purpose of the business progression and successful management. See, in the competitive and continuously changing business environment, nowadays you know all are very well aware about the situations of market, that the competitive era is already started and continuously changing. In the market you will get the continuously changes for the same, and due to that business firms and organization have to continuously remain in touch with the various departments for the purpose of the progression of the business and for the successful management also. If you want to get progress in the your business as well as in your management, at that time you have to continuously make changes for the same. Correspondence is necessary among these departments. See, while during company you have so many departments, so while doing correspondence with the different departments are very necessary. This correspondence generally takes place among the different departments with officers of their respective departments. See, the correspondence generally take among the different department. Alag alag means different departments have to continuously correspond with the different departments. That is, for example, uh, sales department wants to communicate with the purchase department as well as the production department, because they want to know that what type of facilities are at present going on and what type of production, how much units were already produced and how much the demand for our product at present in the market. So they have to continuously keep in touch with the different department, this type of departments, so they can get the ideas for the same. Vice versa, production department have to continuously keep in touch with the sales department as well as the production department, because they want to purchase, they want to produce the units as per the requirement, and what type of requirement and how much requirement is there. For that information, they have to continuously keep in touch with the sales department. Through that, they can get the information that how much demand for our product is at in the market at present situation, and why they have to keep in touch with the purchase department, because they want to produce some units. At that time, they want some raw material, and for that raw material they have to keep in touch with the purchase department that this type of demand and how this much demand at present in the our in the market for our product, and for that we have to produce this much units at present. So we need this type of and this much raw material for the production of the goods, so that they have to continuously keep in touch with the different departments and different respective officers as well as department. Thus the correspondence carried out from the head office to branch and from branch to the head office is called the interdepartmental correspondence. See friends, this is the definition of interdepartmental correspondence that may be asked in a 1 mark question. That, see, this is the definition that the correspondence carried out between the branch to head office and head office to branch, that is known as the interdepartmental correspondence. It is also called the institutional correspondence. Another 1 mark question which may ask in a MCQ as well as 1 mark question. Give the another name of the interdepartmental correspondence, that is known as the institutional correspondence. Means the correspondence carried in through the department or institute, that is known as the institutional correspondence. This type of correspondence is in the form of notice, circular or memo. See, these may also ask in a 1 mark question that give the type of the correspondence of the institutional as well as the interdepartmental correspondence, that is are in form of the notice, circular or memo. We will understand the concept of circular, memo and notice. Communication with the different departments take place either through oral instructions or through the various media of communication. See, communication with the different department, that is of the sales, purchase or production, take place either through the oral instruction or through the various media of communication. See, sales department communicate with the production department orally as well as written as well as telephony. So many means of communications are there. So it is not important that which type of means of communication you are using, but the means of communication is most necessary part, so that we have to continuously keep in touch for different types of department through which we can get the information, through which we can touch and we can produce and we can get our development. Yet interdepartmental correspondence is necessary from the following point of view. Why it is important? So first of all, we have to understand this type of communication and why it is necessary. See, first one, this may be asked in a 3 mark question, so mark it up. First one, verbal information, suggestions may be forgotten but can be retained in the form of letter. See, verbal information may be forgotten. See, means any kind of information can be forgot but retained in the form of letter. See, in the retained means you can keep in mind it even as it is in form of letter. Means written can be read anytime anywhere, but the verbal information might be not yet useful concept. Information and ideas which are communicated between departments and the head office can be documented and served as evidence. See, if any critical situation, you can present it as an evidence to the head office as well as from the branch, because it can be presented as an evidence that you have told us that we have to work like that, and they refuse to accept it. At present you can communicate it as a and present it as an evidence. Undesirable information or any information where there is a hesitation in communicating face to face can be imparted freely through the correspondence. See, sometimes you have to communicate some undesirable information. So, due to this type of undesirable information, while during the communication, might be you feel the hesitation. But in the written form, in the form of letter, you can impart it very easily and you can reach through the letters. So it is helpful in the concept of the communicating while during the communication. Next one, employee becomes the conscious about one's duty if the work is assigned in the written form. See, employee becomes the conscious that he have to be aware that this type of information and this type of work we have to continuously work that, and he will or she will not forget their duty. So it is very essential that the communication can be imparted in a written form, and it is very helpful. Information can be filled and may be useful in future. See, if you want to get the concept that at that time it is very useful that what type of information has been provided by the particular department and what type of information is being asked in the future, it is less expensive and more effective medium. See, it is less expensive means you need a piece of paper and pen or as well as some ink for the printer. But it is more effective that any person wants to not to do a work willingly. At the time, if you give him a written communication, written form, at that time he or she will aware about his responsibility, and he cannot go through it beyond the limit or beyond the criteria. So it is an effective medium for the communication as well as for taking a work from the employees. Meaning of notice. See, now we are going to start the concept of notice, that what is the main base of the notice. A letter that is written to communicate to let the employees of the office know and implemented the changes regarding the legal or constitutional matter or structural changes in the institutional issues of a business firm or organization is known as the notice. See, a letter that is written to communicate. See, while you are writing any kind of letter to let the employee means to provide information to the employees of the office. Office means the from the head office to branch or branch to head office, and implement the changes. That means you want to implement new changes, new decisions. At that time you have to write legally or constitutionally you made changes, and that changes are constitutionally or legally at that time, or structural changes. You provide some changes with the concept of the structure. That is of the structure changes means you want to change the salary date as well as the report date. So these are the structural changes. At that time you have to write a letter, and it is a legally concept that is known as the notice. See, a letter through which you let the employee about the structural, constitutional as well as legal information about the institutional changes, that is known as the notice. Now the objectives of the notice, which may ask in a 2 or 3 mark question. First of all, to draw the attention of the employees when the policy matters are not being followed strictly. See, you want to draw attention of a particular employee that you have to work like that, you have to not to go beyond the limits, and you have to continuously strictly follow the rules and regulations that are known as the notice. To inform the employees the changes made according to circumstances. See, some changes are made through the according to the circumstances, and you want to let the employee, that is known as the notice. To inform the employees to perform duty according to the set order or specific method. See, any employees are not go through the rules and regulations. At that time you will provide some structure as well as some fixed method, and you want to provide information to that particular employee through the letter, that is known as the notice. And if you want to show to the employee that you have to work within a specific criteria as well as some specific rules and regulation, that is known as the notice, and you have to continuously according to work according to your duty and according to your method. To assign a particular work to a particular person. See, any particular work is assigned to any particular person. So, you want to assign that particular work to that particular person through the notice. And the time limit and location to complete the work. You can show the time limit and the workplace, and it can be useful for the employees that. And if you provide this type of notice to employee that you have to work within this time limit and with this location, so it will remain in the mind of the employee that he or she has to work within a criteria, within a time limit, and with a specific workplace. So he or she cannot go through the beyond the rules and regulations which are mentioned in the notice. So it is very helpful that the employees can be keep in mind with this type of letters. To inform who has to submit the progress report and to whom. See, who has to work, who is the superior, and to whom the work has been submitted. This is very most important part of your business activities, that you are liable, you are responsible to what type of person and what type of authority is very necessary, and every employee should be very well aware about the superior and who is his or her superior and to whom they are responsible. Be submitted to the particular person. See, the work has been submitted to the particular person. Now we are going to start the concept of the circular, and we will learn the meaning of the circular. A letter written on a regular basis to a group of the employees with a view to inform them about the code of conduct decided by the management of the business firm or organization is called a circular letter. See, a letter written to a regular basis. If you want to write regularly a letter to the employees, means the group of employees, not a particular person, but it is a group of the employees with a view to, see, with a view to the concept of the code of conduct. That means you want to provide information about the code of conduct of the employees, not only employees but the group of the employees by the management and business firm, that is known as the circular. Say, common instruction, this is an example of the circular, that if the management wants to pass some common instruction for the employees, or you can say the group of employees, and which is most important part for them, it is known as the circular. Say for example, company management decided that every employee, whether it is a managing director or a peon, the information or rules should be applied equally. See, company management decide that every employee has to compulsorily wear an I card, and this is very compulsory for the business unit, and it may apply equally whether it is a post of the MD or whether it is a post of the peon. See, this code of conduct has been changed by the management that every employee had compulsory have to wear an I card, and company wants to pass this information, this rule to the group of employees. At that time, they write a particular letter, that is of the circular, in form of circular, that we have to compulsorily wear an I card while during the present in the business premises, and it is applicable equally whether it is a post of the MD or peon. This is the an example for circular. Circular letter has practical and administrative attitude. See, this may be asked in a one mark question that what type of attitude have circular. At that time you have to write that the answer is the circular letter has a practical as well as the administrative attitude. Practical why? Because whatever information, whatever rule has mentioned in the circular, and they have to strictly follow it. So it is unpractical. And why it is an administrative? That means it is an compulsorily basis, and it is applicable through the concept of the code of conduct. That's why it is known as the administrative attitude. Now, functions of the circular. What type of activities has been done under the circular? First one, it guides the employees regarding their scope of work. See, what is the limit? What is the criteria of any particular employee, that what type of work has been done by him or her? Through the circular, they can know it. It draws the attention of the employees for the implementing decision taken by the management. See, while during the changing rules and regulations according to the concept of the code of conduct, at that time, if you want to provide an information to that particular employee, or you can say the group of employees, at that time you have to write an circular, and through which you can draw an attention to the employees that this type of decision should be this type of decision has been taken by the administrative management, and it is very compulsory. That, say for example, every employee has to wear an I card while during the presence in the business premises. So you have to compulsorily strictly follow that particular rule. It clarifies what is expected from the employees. This is most important feature, most important function of the circular, that what expectations are there from the employee, that what type of activities and what type of work is expected to the employees by the administrative management. It maintains equality among the employees. See, I have given an example that equality should be maintained by the circular. Say, another time I present this example that everyone has to wear an I card while during the present in a business premises. So it is an equality whether it is a post of the MD as well as the peon. They have to compulsorily wear an I card while during the present in the business premises. Now the characteristics of a circular, which can be also asked in a 2 or 3 mark question, that a circular is written addressing not a particular employee but the entire group of employees. See, while you are writing a circular, it is not a particular for the employee, but it is for the group of employees. That means the rules and regulations which are written in a circular are equally applicable to the all employees. You can say the group of employees. Matter mentioned in the circular is applicable to all members of the group equally. See, whatever information is mentioned in the group in the circular is applicable to the every employee as a basis of the equally. Say for example, I have present an example that everyone has to wear an I card while they are present in the business premises. That means they have to compulsorily wear the I card while they are present in a business premises, whether it is a post of the MD or it is a post of the peon. They have to compulsorily wear an I card. So it is an equally basis. The format of a circular is like all other letters. See, the format has not changed in the form of the circular, but the letter format which you have learned earlier, same format has been used in the writing of the circular. Yet sometimes inside addresses or complementary clause are not written. See, these little bit changes are made while during writing a circular. Sometimes inside address as well as the complementary clause are not written in the circular letter because they are very useful things, and all are knows about who is your superior and who is your subordinate. So it is not important that while you are writing a letter, so it is not compulsory that you mention the inside address as well as the complementary clause, because it is a interdepartmental correspondence. That means every employee has know about the superior as well as the subordinate. So if you are not mentioning the inside address as well as the complementary clause, at that time it is not compulsory and it is not necessary that you have to compulsorily mention in the circular, but it can be acceptable. But it is only for the circular, not in other letters. If you have written or if you forgot to write this type of complementary clause as well as the inside address, then the marks can be cut. Date and time are very important in a circular. See, date and time is very most important part while you are writing a circular letter, and this may be asked in a 1 mark question as well as MCQ, that what is important while during writing a circular, and the answer is the date and time is very important while you are writing a circular letter. It is more like an attention drawing tool for a particular group of employees regarding the implementation of the policy decision. See, if you want to draw an attention to the particular employees, group of employees, and the policy decision, at that time you have to compulsorily write an circular letter through which you can draw an attention to a particular employee. Thus, both the notices and circular brings awareness about the responsibility of the employees through the communication of the information in a specific context. See, if you want to bring awareness about the responsibility of in the employees and communication at that time specific context, at that time you have to write a notice as well as the circular through which you can bring an awareness. Yet there is a difference between them which could be mentioned in the following way. See, in the next lecture we will learn about the difference about the notice and circular. But before that you have to compulsorily go through this video, and through which you can get the ideas for the same and what is the basic concept of notice and the circular. If you are not aware about the circular as well as the notice and their basic concept, at that time you will not be able to understand the basic concept of the difference of the notice as well as the circular. So make sure, if you want to understand very easily the concept of the notice as well as the circular, and we will learn it in next lecture. But before that, you have to compulsorily make clear about the circular as well as the notice. So make sure learn it well. Thank you very much.